The FWD Champions Mile, race number 7, is up next. It's an all-Hong Kong affair headed by the unbeaten this season. Beauty Generation's been on a roll since winning this race last year, and this will be his 9th straight and the prize money record on the line as well. He'll jump from barrier 2. Conti's finished second. He always finished behind him on his last 3 starts. Season's Bloom, Hugh Bowman in the saddle, getting back to something like his best Season's Bloom. Simply Brilliant, the January Cup winner, be ridden by Oshin Murphy. Singapore Sling, Rise High, and Romantic Touch will jump off the inside gate for Matthew Chadwick from barrier 1. Now, as far as Chung Fro is concerned, Season's Bloom has spent some time there. I think it's done him some good as well, as has Romantic Touch. So 2 out of the 7 runners going around there. We made our way to the touchscreen to have a look at the speed map and some of the key races as far as this is concerned. I don't think any great surprises here, but as far as the speed map is concerned, Beauty Generation will get out in front, so I'd imagine that's probably where he'll stay.
Yep, I would have thought so. From gate 2, the horse that's drawn underneath him is this horse here, Romantic Touch. Now, there is the possibility, if you want to go back to situations in Macau for Romantic Touch and other races here, even in Sha Tin, where he led one day, dictated, and it was a sit spread he won, potentially, if he steps well enough, that has to be the key, he might be able to sort of be here and maybe pressure Beauty Generation a little bit, but eventually the champion will just roll forward with his huge amount of natural speed early and just his high cruising pace. So eventually you would think it would unfold that way. Joe suggested Conti will be heading forward too from a wide draw. Singapore Sling should get a lovely run, and obviously Simply Brilliant, a chance of being in front of Romantic Touch. Rise High, Season's Bloom, looks pretty self-explanatory for them.
All right, that is Beauty Generation out in front. Seems a natural place to start as well, Paul, after you've had a look at the track work.
Yeah, let's have a look at him. Yeah, he's going down the back straight, not a care in the world. Everything's going very well for the horse, and he works very nicely. This was down the back straight the other day, and a really nice piece of work from Beauty Generation.
Yeah, John put a horse out in front of him to chase as well.
Yeah, he did. Conti, one we're looking at here, and he was slightly disappointing, I thought, last start, but prior to that, did run a nice third behind Beauty Generation. He goes well enough there with Waikuku. He'll be running later on. And Singapore Sling, I think his work's picked up a little bit as well. Singapore Sling, and look, he hasn't shown much since he ran second in the Derby, but he's only had the limited starts, and the 4th behind Beauty Generation last time wasn't too bad.
Yeah, good run at the start of the season under handicap conditions as well. We'll come back to him in due course. But let's start off with Beauty Generation. This interview is part of a special on Hong Kong Direct this week, so make sure you tune into that on the Multimedia Showcase. But the question posed to Zach is Beauty Generation the best he's ever sat on?
No, he's just a fantastic horse. He's turned into a pretty straightforward horse. He's very, very good at what he does. He knows what he needs to do. It's probably the one thing that was missing from my CV was a horse of his calibre. I've ridden a lot of good horses at times and won a lot of big races and important races, but I've never had one horse of his calibre or quality that's been as consistent as he has for as long as he has, albeit it's only been 1 season now. It'd be nice for him to go and do it for 2 or 3 seasons. But he's definitely been the most consistent horse at that level that I've ridden in my career.
We've said pretty much all we can say about him, haven't we, as far as his ability is concerned. Let's have a look at him in action and see what he can do to his rivals. Beauty Generation down here on the inside, and he just, well, puts them to bed, doesn't he, Beauty Generation? I think he deserves probably one of those, doesn't he?
Yes, there's plenty of people that love him, that's for sure, Andrew.
As far as the others concerned, Conti doing his best. We've got Singapore Sling here as well, and Season's Bloom also staying on for the back. Shouldn't forget about Rise High here. Rise High's working his way through the grades.
Yep. But this fellow's in one class, the rest in another. He also is looking for 8 for the season there on Sunday, which is another record. The most prize money ever accumulated by a horse in Hong Kong. You've already touched on that one, Andrew. 9 straight. And there's a lot of records on the shelf there waiting to be swept up tomorrow. He's just got so much class from start to finish, Paul, the way he runs them strongly through the first part and then keeps it going. He sort of alleviates the swoopers, and he takes the sting out of the leaders as well, and he can do it at both ends. He's incredible, really.
Yeah, he'll just be waving to the crowd, I reckon, halfway down the straight. I can't see anything beating him.
All right, well, we'll just to rub salt into the wounds, let's have a look at him again in devastating action. This time, once more, we've got Conti chasing him. If Conti tries to match him, there's a chance he could break him.
Well, Conti break Beauty Generation
No,
or
Beauty
vice versa?
Generation, yeah, Beauty Generation break Conti.
Well, it's interesting because Joe Moreira, not going into the last race, but the race where he did run second, where you're showing and highlighting now, Joe said prior to the race that he was quite confident in Conti serving it up to Beauty Generation. It didn't eventuate, but he's had this run, then he had that slightly disappointing one. Both Joe and John Size have also said they expect Conti to run better on Sunday, and he's drawn 11. Maybe they might just say, well, look, we can't just sit back, he's going to run us into the ground. Maybe they will get him in his face a little bit out. Conti's a big striding type as well, who can pretty much run all day. He's not going to sit back and beat him, so why not try something else?
He might ruin his own chances.
He could do, but then again, he might not. He could actually run well and either pick up second or maybe even...
He's the most likely to pick up the pieces
horse.
if something, if he's to be beaten, I suppose. Simply Brilliant, we'll have a look at here. Now, this is up in trip. This is the 2,000 metres, so he's having a drop back out of the Gold Cup on this occasion. It stays on the end of his race is the best part of it.
Yeah. This was a good performance, no doubt.
Yeah, just the way he hit the line, I thought he just sort of came under a little bit of pressure here, but he hit the line really nicely. He was a really good winner at Happy Valley as well this season, Simply Brilliant. He's been very honest since he's got here. I've got him on a very minor line. I think he can run a bit of a race.
This is a really good run. It was the first time he sort of stepped in at level weights at Group 1 level, and he, ran with a lot of credit. After this, he was flat. He started, I think, second favourite behind Rise High and lost a lot of ground in the stretch. He's had a freshen up, couple of trials leading in. I think he's worth considering for some minor money, but again, he's going to struggle to win.
Yeah, a lot of those horses will be going round in the QE2. We'll look at them in a second. Beauty Generation, money back, surprised me, Paul.
Yeah, no, I can't tip against him. I think he'll win this race. Beauty Generation, no problems whatsoever. He's on top. Singapore Sling effectively comes in third up. He had a little bit of a spell. He's had 2 runs. He'll be cherry ripe for this as well. Conti in there for third and Simply Brilliant fourth. I do like the 1 and 5, Cornell. That's what I'd be going. 1, 5, 2, 4.
Yep, 1 on top, Beauty Generation. Obvious selection for me as well to make it back-to-back champions. Miles also. Singapore Sling, I thought, ran enormous, even though he had to give away £5 last start. Simply Brilliant, Conti. Just back to the situation with Conti before. Joe's, a brilliant jockey. He knows how far he can push it, and he knows how far's over the line as well with regards to maybe trying to be outside of Beauty Generation. And I think it's a tactic they may try. We'll wait and see how it unfolds. But 1, 5, 4, 2, and let's hope that he can do it just for racing in general.
Absolutely. Beauty Generation, impossible to tip against. But Seasons Bloom, if that price held up, I'd be tempted to that $4.50 a place about Seasons Bloom.